Hello and welcome to my Xbox and Me episode. Oh god, I forgot. 489. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only, the man of the ones and twos, Mr. Paul D. Spawn.
One of these days you'll remember it first time.
Look,
Today's not that day.
You even said, I'm going to change it now for you so you can look. And then I did the intro without having the show notes up, so I forgot. Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, it does happen. The one and only Mr. Matt P. Video.
Hello, everybody.
And of course, the one and only Mr. Too Fresh Crash. Crash, how are you?
I'm doing good. You don't know why I'm doing good?
Why is that, mate?
We have 2 podcast reviews in America.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh my
Let's
God.
not this, do it.
You want to start with the reviews?
Go straight into it, baby.
Okay.
I love that. Bro.
First review, best podcast, gaming podcast in the ... I can't read the rest of the title, unfortunately. It doesn't show up.
Oh, no.
But this is from ELCP 052815.
Right, let me stop you right there, Crash.
Okay.
You know why I absolutely love this? That is a default fucking username, which means this motherfucker actually went and grabbed his nan's phone. That is what the
I
fuck
love
happened
that.
here.
Yep. I love it as well.
Okay. Let's a 5-star review. Starting off
Okay.
great spot to start off with. Why would anyone listen to another podcast about games? They are second tier compared to the boys at MXAM. Funny and always know how to engage with the community. And the segment on blind rankings is the best idea ever to come to the podcast. Brilliant work at Big Willie P. Sorry, Fix. The American audience will always help Crash. Signed, anonymous relative of a MXAM regular listener and possible contributor.
That sounds like Big Willie P's nan. I think we all
sounds
just
like
met Big Willie P's nan.
Yeah.
Big cheers to Big Willie P's nan.
Is that real? Is that real or is that fake?
A review.
That's a real Guinness.
It's a
Or
real
fake-
one.
Oh, yeah.
Were you asking? Yeah, I didn't know if you're asking about the review or the pint.
Yeah,
It was a
okay.
real
The
Guinness.
pint,
It was a real
my
Guinness.
bad, the pint. No, I don't think Crash is making up podcast reviews.
I should start doing that to see if you check.
Just because we can't find that. Yeah, we got 7 reviews this week, guys. Let me just read them out.
Yeah. 5 stars. Paul's the cutest. It's weird. I don't know what.
Second review. From Work Jesus. Title of the review, great show, 5 stars. Finally got a new work phone, so I'm able to review the pod again. Great podcast, amazing group of guys that are fun to listen to. Signed off, Jesus. That's it.
Shout out my guy Jesus all day, every day. We appreciate
Jesus.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
the
We
one.
appreciate
You're
it.
the
Yeah, we've got no new podcast reviews over in the UK.
Yeah, I just told you 5 stars. Paul is cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. From Paul's nan.
From Paul's not from anonymous.
So make sure you review us if you haven't already. We do appreciate it. Thank you to the shout out to our American listeners. It is crazy that Crash has his own fan base though.
It's weird. I don't get it. I know
What can I
Crash now.
say?
And it's like I don't
It
get
breaks
it.
my
didn't
heart.
expect it.
It breaks my heart.
It breaks your
honestly.
heart?
It does, yeah.
I
'Cause when
can't
have
wait
to
for
fire
this.
you, it's gonna
I was
be
going to say,
Yeah.
I can't wait for the band to break up and Crash come out with his own solo album. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
My
Yeah,
Xbox and Crash.
I
can't
always
wait.
think that Crash is the Harry Styles of this group.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
My solo career is going to go crazy.
Yeah.
too early for that joke. Don't say
Yeah,
it.
I thought the exact same thing.
Too early for that joke,
Yeah, I
Fixer.
didn't-
Don't say it.
Don't do
say
it. Don't do it.
All right, fine. Forget the rigmarole. You know where to find us. Go and do all those things. Topic of the show this week, boys. Phil Spencer has been having a lot to say. He spoke with Bloomberg. Shout out Bloomberg. Obviously, Jason Schreier over there doing some fantastic work. There is a lot to break down, boys, to be honest with you, in the world of Xbox this week. So let's jump straight into it. The first thing we'll be talking about is that Phil Spencer says there is no, quote, red lines, end quote, for what games could come to PlayStation and Nintendo. There's a little quote here that I'll read, which is, I do not see sort of a red line in our portfolio that says thou must not, end quote. Phil Spencer explained the idea of a particular game not being able to come to either PlayStation or Nintendo, that including things like Halo, Gears, etc. How does that make the panel feel this week, boys? Obviously, this is something that we've kind of assumed and known and guessed, especially after Indiana Jones, I would say, was probably the biggest floodgate opening after Phil and the crew saying that games were not going to come day one between those 4 games that came, which I'm referencing: Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, and there we go, and Grounded. But yeah, we've kind of hit the floodgates opening point of Xbox's ecosystem business scheme, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. To answer your question, how do I feel about it? I'm kind of over it. Like initially when this first got announced and it was like, oh, we're going to start seeing Xbox games on other platforms, I was like, oh, that's just going to cheapen what Xbox is as a brand, and it's not showing support to the Xbox fans. But then like we saw the aftermath of what happened when those 4 games released, where Sea of Thieves basically ran up the PlayStation pre-order charts. It's been a massive hit for them over there. Hi-Fi Rush as well, I think, was a big hit for people. And it's just like, honestly, it makes total business sense from now. Like they are 100% pushing forwards with the ecosystem being like access it anywhere, wherever you play, it doesn't matter as long as we get our cut. And I'm sure like it is totally fine for them to lose that 30% to whatever store they're on, as long as they're getting that 70% and increasing the amount of player base they've got. And again, I feel like we've seen it time and time again recently over the last year, maybe 2 now, of like companies not hitting their margins. And it's got to be that something had to give. And I think this is what's going to give, where it is opening up the gates to other platforms so that you can get a higher player base. So you've got less risk on your returns.
Okay, we'll go around first before I interject and start changing the conversation, shall I? Matt, does this lessen your experience as an Xbox player at all?
No, but I'm very aware I'm saying that from a very privileged position of owning all of the things and having the ability to play my games wherever I essentially want to play them. Although I do play most on Xbox because that's where my friends who I game with play. I still think Game Pass is an incredible deal. And I think it's interesting that we're sort of seeing this kind of flourishing, I guess, now of these companies having these really long-term plans, right? Like Xbox was laying the way for this, sort of saying, hey, we want our games to be everywhere. We want players to play this everywhere. They've always been saying that. And they haven't been the greatest at communication. We all know that. But like, this is the kind of evidence of that coming true. PlayStation was saying, hey, we're buying up Destiny so that we can focus on other mediums like TV and film. And we made an Uncharted film. And now we have Secret Levels, like that we're a big partner of and all those things. And kind of seeing these plans come to life now, for better and worse. And I think like it's interesting to be in this space right now. I think Xbox, we know the game that they're playing, which is, hey, get your ass on Game Pass. However you want to do that is fine by us. And so, yeah, I don't think it cheapens what Xbox is as a brand. I don't know if you know, like we always say, 90% of gamers don't care is the truth. They're happy to have a little, you know, console war debate on Twitter or whatever, but ultimately they don't care. It's not going to change their buying decisions. If they can play Halo on their PlayStation in 5 years' time, they're probably fine with that. And Xbox is probably fine with that too.
Fresh?
Yeah,
how you feeling?
I'm completely fine with it. I think the biggest issue, even when this first broke out, whenever the talk about stuff going to other platforms, it was always Xbox's messaging. And I think we've gotten to a point where like Xbox had this messaging very consistently to the point where like, this doesn't bother me at all. They've been about this. They're going to be about this. That's cool. I go in not expecting everything they show to be a permanent exclusive, a window of exclusivity, best place to play on Xbox, sure, all that stuff. But I don't need everything. I think seeing Halo and Gears of War go over to PlayStation, if they ever do, will be a little bit weird, but I don't think it hurts the core Xbox experience for what they're setting up their future to be. So I don't think it really bothers me in the long run.
I think you both hit the nail on the head there, right? This is the first time in a long time that Xbox have said something and they have followed through with it and executed it the way they've said, which, don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of bumps along the road with this, but how many times have we heard Phil say, barrier to entry, we don't want that. We want to give gamers a choice to play wherever they want, etc., etc. The first barrier to entry, right, was getting the games on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. And were PlayStation going to play ball with that? Were PlayStation going to want that? Were PlayStation going to be open to that? then obviously we saw the 4 games come, that happened, boom, it happens. Which I think the Activision deal was the biggest part of that, right? Where it was a case of, we're not going to lose Call of Duty over this, so we're going to have to just take the money where we get it in terms of these other published games coming to our ecosystem. And I think that's why I'm kind of, it's been a long time now. Obviously, I had my hissy fit many, many, many months ago, maybe a year ago now, about not being okay with this. Obviously, time heals all wounds sort of thing, right? It's a case of like, yeah, I don't care. And like Matt said again, I'm privileged as well. Like I can play on PC, I can play on Xbox, I can play on PlayStation, I can play on Switch. So it doesn't really make a difference to me. And I think the minute they became the ecosystem and I changed my mindset around that was the minute I was okay with it. The minute I stopped buying games or getting, and in my case, again, because I don't buy many games anymore because of the situation that we're in and being an influencer and things, but being able to pick games for what system, 99% of the time now I pick PC. I don't pick Xbox anymore because of it being an ecosystem and things like that. I'm not into the achievement system anymore. I'm not into the friends list system anymore. I'm not into the, back in the day, Snap feature, whatever it may be, right? Like, I am not in that anymore from a day-to-day basis. If a game has play anywhere, amazing. That means I can play it downstairs in my living room or I can play it upstairs on my PC. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with it now. I'm not angry. I'm not annoyed. I'm not frustrated anymore. And I think gaming has just changed. Gaming has changed. We've seen so many companies now, you know, go under, games fail, and the studio cease to exist, and things like that. Where I'm a Gears fan, right? As much as I'm an Xbox fan, I'm a Gears fan. If the next Gears comes out, the prequel, what's it called again? I forgot what it's called. Thank you. E-Day comes out and is exclusive to PlayStation to Xbox for 6 months, Xbox and PC for 6 months, and then 6 months later it comes to PlayStation, which gives it an influx of multiplayer people to play with. I think I'd probably be happy with that because it means that, and multiplayer for Gears notoriously dies off very quickly. Me and Crash could definitely talk about that because it becomes a sweat fest, and only the 0.01% of players stick around playing regularly. I'm sure you'll get a few people jumping in here and there because of Game Pass and things like that, but regularly. If PlayStation fans are going to come over and play the game for the first time, playing Gears for the first time, and that makes the multiplayer bigger, which makes Gears bigger, I guess, to be honest with you, it can only be a good thing.
Yeah, even multiplayer aside, the Gears of War campaigns are, especially 4 and 5, are incredibly underrated. Like they don't get talked about the way they should. And if future Gears of War games do go to PlayStation at some point, you'd hope a resurgence of that conversation and they sort of get looked at in what the light that I feel like they deserve to be looked at, as opposed to they've been viewed as, I don't want to say throwaway, but they are sort of like, of Xbox's legacy brands that you have from the 360 days, they are probably at the bottom of that totem pole, unfortunately.
Well, you know my opinion on this. Gears is better than Halo. So
yeah, but I'm not talking about personal value of these franchises. I'm talking about
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
No, you're 100% agree. Optics wise and things like that, 100%. You're right. You're 100% right.
Which is a shame because, just to jump in, I think like Gears has always been seen as that tentpole, like technical franchise of like, this is technically what an Xbox game can look like. Like Gears 5 specifically has been like a benchmark title for showing off some of the graphics. I mean, it's changed in recent times. Like Hellblade is probably the one now for like the graphical quality of what an Xbox game can look like.
Real quick. Did everyone forget that game came out this year?
Yeah.
I always forget that came out this year. Yeah,
completely.
I always forget.
I was expecting another trailer at Game Awards. I'm sorry. What?
Real gameplay trailer.
Real gameplay trailer. Yeah. But no, it's just like, Gears is a weird one, right? Like I like when we initially started seeing games released. Like if you told me that there's a chance that Gears could go to PlayStation, I'd be like, venomously against it or vehemently against it, or like, no, this can't happen. This is an Xbox title thrown through. But then as we've seen these things happen, of like so Sea of Thieves and things like that do absolutely wonderful things for the community and that game in general. Like hell, if it keeps that game in the spotlight and, you know, it gets people a chance to actually enjoy that series again, then yeah, sure, I'm here for it.
I have a question. Something that happened last week and we didn't talk about it on the pod.
What did we do?
We did a 2.5 hour podcast, Matt.
I know, and we didn't talk about
sleep
shit.
on it. We were all
didn't talk
falling
about
asleep.
Death Stranding came to Xbox.
It did.
Just shadow dropped on Xbox on sale. And I think it's interesting that like PlayStation just shadow dropped like that. Like they decided.
Well, it's not
hey,
PlayStation. So
it's
Gina
not,
now
yeah.
owns the rights to it now. That's
Sure.
why.
Excuse me, a PlayStation exclusive that then also
Sure.
went to PC, but went to PC later, just appeared on the Xbox store, right? Instead of Jim Ryan or whoever coming out and doing a statement, doing an
Because
interview.
they don't
with
own
Burger.
it.
Yeah, they don't own it.
PlayStation doesn't own it, but the
that's
reason
why.
you didn't get that
Sure.
big influx of like people talking about it is because you already had this with Game Pass. You had Death Stranding showing up on Game Pass.
Agreed.
That conversation's already been had.
Yeah, it was on PC.
It was on Game Pass PC. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when it came to Game Pass PC, that was a big story that was going around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I feel like
Fair enough.
that's just off. I feel like the next PlayStation thing, or that was once PlayStation exclusive that comes to Xbox, when that drops, there'll be a lot more people talking about it. There'll probably be a lead up to the announcement as well, because I get that point. It is a little bit weird that it just dropped out of nowhere.
What I was going to say is, sorry, go on.
Please. No, please.
Do we get any more this year?
No.
I feel like the only option of us getting something this year is if they finally pull the trigger on Helldivers, and I don't see it happening.
No.
I was thinking Lego Horizon because it's come out. The reviews came out today as of recording. They weren't phenomenal. You'd assume the sales are probably going to be a bit underwhelming, not based on the reviews, but just based on marketing and based on everything else. It's on Switch, but is a very PlayStation game. I wouldn't be surprised if at Game Awards they go, oh, hey, Lego Horizon's coming to Xbox in a month.
No way.
Yeah, I don't think it happens for at least 6 months after it releases.
Yeah.
If then, but it won't. It won't.
Let's think about it logically, right? How long does it take for games to come to PC? It has to come to PC before it's on PC and Switch, right? PC, Switch, and PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, we don't cover a lot of PlayStation news, but they've been going through a whole bunch of restructuring on
of
game
course.
releases and stuff like that. So it isn't like looking at the future and using like the format for like PlayStation. Xbox has been stuck in this path for a while, so you can sort of make better guesses as to what Xbox will do. You can't really do that with PlayStation right now because they're going through so many internal shifts. You can make guesses of like the short-term future in the next 6 months, but like plans change drastically. It would be more of a question of how long would it take to actually port those games to Xbox whenever they do decide, hey, let's put this game onto Xbox.
Well,
And
yeah.
I don't know that answer, so.
No, and it's a third-party studio working on the game, right? It's not a first-party Xbox, PlayStation.
third.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third.
So, like, I'm sure if
true.
it's a studio that's got they've already got the skills to make it a PlayStation, a PC, and a Switch title. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got the skills
If
to
it's-
move it to Xbox as well.
If it's running, we always say, we know nothing about game dev, but I'm going to put this out
Copy
there as a
and
blanket
paste,
statement.
baby. Copy and paste.
If it's
just
already
click the
running on
pop button.
PC, it can run on Xbox. Copy, like you say, copy and paste it over. If it's running on Switch, it can run on S. You ain't even got to worry about it. Bump it over.
That's a good point,
Let's
actually. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
No, it is true.
The other side of that conversation, though, is very much how PlayStation view their brands. They are very much like Aloy and Horizon is a PlayStation brand. It's like, I know there's like mudding the waters a
it's
little bit by putting it
changing.
on Switch. It is changing, but it is slowly changing.
I don't think it's there yet. That was
No.
going to be that's what I was going to say earlier. PlayStation are not there yet. They're not ready to give up. They're ready to give it up to Nintendo, 100%.
Yeah.
But not to Xbox. Not yet. Not yet.
No.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
never, but just not yet.
I think
will
the
say-
biggest. Go on, Crash.
Go ahead.
I think the biggest way that I differentiate from all that is Concord having a Secret Levels episode. Concord was supposed to be their next fucking big thing, and they've gone to the love, sex, and robots people and gone, here, take our next big franchise and make a TV show about it. I think that shows them relinquishing a lot of care. And they've got a Kratos episode and a lot of...
Yeah, but that's
like-
but that's in a whole different medium.
That's
Yeah.
not on Xbox.
That's also not theirs. The secret level stuff is not Sony's thing.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
what I
somebody
mean.
else's thing.
That's what he's saying.
But, like,
That's what I mean.
he's
They're
saying.
giving it to
That's
him.
literally what he's saying.
But I get what you're saying, but Of the two of those, you're not wrong, but in my mind, of the two of those, the one that will be better is the thing that was given away. So I don't think that they just sort of gave it away for somebody to just drop the egg on its head, you know?
I couldn't believe that. As of recording, a new Secret Levels trailer came out today. It's
I didn't see it.
fucking amazing.
It's phenomenal. Yeah,
the cast list, they do like a segment where it goes through the cast. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kevin Hart,
they got them all.
Keanu Reeves, boom, boom, boom. Loads of people. Insane. I want to know what the budget is for this show. It's crazy. But in the middle of the
Amazon, right?
fucking... Yeah. So
that's
serious
Amazon
money.
got money. They're fine.
Yeah. They got the,
But in the middle of
books.
it, you know, they're flashing up all the logos, Sifu, Warhammer 40k, Concord. I'm like, guys, you got to stop leaning in. I know the marketing materials might already be done, but you could have deleted the title screen out of there. Come on.
Why, though? They still got an episode they got to promote.
Make as much money you can off of that at this point.
I mean, you got to remember, some people will be like car crash watching that. I was like, how bad is this going to be? Because it's Concord.
But it won't be. I think it's going to come out and be
phenomenal.
awesome.
This is the
I think it's going to come out and be awesome. Everyone's going to go, what? We could have had a game of this.
It's like,
it's going to,
What I would say, the Secret Levels trailer, that came out today. Go watch it. Like, it gives nothing away, but it is just hype as fuck. It is such a good trailer.
Right.
It's awesome.
A
It'll
question for
start in
half
December,
of the pod.
right?
December 10th.
Yeah. A question for half the podcast, like basically me and Matt, because I don't think the other two haven't watched it. How hyped are you for the Sifu episode?
No, guys, we got too much Xbox news to get through. Get out of here.
Stunning.
No.
Stunning.
No, move away.
Moving
Jesus,
on.
you pain in the butts. Thank you. Microsoft has confirmed plans for an Xbox handheld, but it's years away, Crash. Sorry. In case you missed this, it was all taken part of that same interview with Bloomberg. And Phil Spencer said this. The expectations is that it would be we would do something in the handheld game device category, but is still a few years away. They are currently in the prototype section of making a handheld. I have waited for this for over a decade. Since Windows 10 came out and you could earn achievements on your Windows games, that was the moment I knew I needed an Xbox handheld. Now, has that changed since then? Probably, because now I have a Steam Deck and you've got an ROG and you've got a this and a that and a this and a that. But an Xbox handheld would still be very exciting, right, Chris? Right, Chris? Right.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm gonna put on a tinfoil hat. Okay.
Okay. Do it.
Here we go.
So in a few years down the line, Nintendo will be on their Switch 3 and they'll switch to some new medium. They're not gonna have the removable console anymore, right?
Yeah.
They're going to do something else. That's when Xbox swoops in with their brand new Series S line. That is a mobile, that is a handheld device that plugs into a dock that function as both a handheld and a console at the same time.
I love that.
Yeah,
the
I'm
Series
with you, yeah.
S2 is a dockable handheld. Is fucking phenomenal. Now, unfortunately, Xbox are terrible at naming their stuff, and there's no way it'll be called the Series S2, but like, I'm on board.
Yeah, but for me, like thinking about it, that's logically, if they want the Series S to continue, that's probably the more inline way to make it work out and have an excuse for like the lower power and all that stuff. It's like, but it also functions as a handheld, because that's the reason Nintendo also with the Switch has gotten away with a lot of the conversations around their lack of power. People don't really go to Nintendo for power, but there's also the fact that that's a handheld at the end of the day. It's not just a home console, despite some people like myself. I just use it as a home console. That's not what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah. Go on, Dace, when you seem like you're going to say something. Oh, go on, Matt. I don't care.
Matt?
I was gonna say, I think if they go down that route, they're and you know, the classic train that I'm always on, I could see it being hey, you want to play this? You can only play this via cloud on your Switch 2 handheld. But if it's Pentiment, you're in. You can download it. You're good to go. But if it's Halo Infinite, you've got to cloud stream it. And you know, I'm talking about whatever the next version of those things.
Yeah, of course. No way.
No,
But
I
I
can
can
do it properly.
yeah.
No, it's what the Switch does. The Switch says, hey, if you want to play this game, you got to stream it.
Yeah, but that's because the Switch
Wait,
can't
what?
Yeah, you can stream certain games. Hitman.
No, I
you can
know
stream
that,
Resident
but
Evil.
like,
But what I think, Matt, what you're saying, I don't think will happen, because you're talking about the way that you're talking about it anyway now is that you are going to lock native access to the Xbox handheld, that will happen. That is giving a less. No, well, there won't, because by that point, hopefully, well, I say by that, they're talking like years out now. Yeah. Like by that point, there will be other handhelds in the market that will be able to handle their games. They won't give a lesser experience to their consumers just to force them to buy a handheld. That's not how Xbox are working. They're very much like, play anywhere if it's available and we can run it, play it there. We're not going to say you have to play it on cloud. You have to have the lesser experience or give us extra money. They were like, nah, just buy Game Pass and play it wherever you want to install it.
I agree with Despawn because I think they would let you run a shitty version on whatever this console is and be like, you can download it natively or you can play the better version on cloud if you want.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, they don't stop people from playing a game on the Series S, even if it doesn't run amazing. Or even when they were doing games on the Xbox One, they didn't stop people from playing games on the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you can't co-op Baldur's Gate on the Series S, right?
That's
like we're on that slippery slope.
That's already but that's one
Baldur's,
very specific. Forza already runs on the ROG. It's not like it can't run on something. Gears, you can run these games on these consoles already.
You can run Baldur's Gate on a Steam Deck.
Not possible. You can literally roll Baldur's Gate on a Steam Deck. I think you can run it in co-op.
Mm-hmm.
Matt's defense. How much does a Steam Deck cost?
No, I think wait. You think this is not going to be expensive? You're crazy.
Yeah, no, I think it is going to be cheap.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be super cheap. No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
No way.
When I say Series S2, I mean it fills that spot. I think it will be cheaper than the home console.
I totally agree.
Worst case, same price as the home console. It doesn't go more expensive.
I totally agree. Nope. They've seen too much success with the Switch. They know people will just buy the cheap thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they care about the cheap thing. I love your idea for it, Crash, and I think that is the way I would go about it. I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to try and compete with a Steam Deck, with a ROG. I think that's where they're going to try and compete on that level, but for Xbox.
Yeah,
that's where I think they're going to go.
I kind of agree with Fix only because of the way that Phil's been talking about it, and there's interviews about how they're currently looking at what's going on in the handheld market already. So they're going to basically try and give you something comparative to the handheld market or better.
That's not what that means. That's not what that statement means.
They're watching the market and they're going to adapt to it in years to come.
You know what else is in the market? The handheld market? The Switch.
The motherfucking Switch.
I don't think they're watching the Switch.
My little cousin's iPad. The handheld market is more than your Steam Deck and your ROG whatevers.
I don't think that's what they're looking at. I think they're looking at the Steam Deck. They're looking at the Logitech CLAD machine and going, no, that's not it. That's not it. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Mm-hmm. But that's not it. We want to be in the face of people and giving people an option to play Xbox games everywhere.
I think they're looking at the whole field. I think they're looking at the Switch. I think they're looking at your mobile phone. I think they're looking at the Steam Deck. I think they're looking at it all, and they're like, what is the best place for us, and what is the place we can make the most impact and get the most users from? And I don't know if the Steam Deck is the move to get the most users.
It's not. Your version is definitely the way to go. Absolutely.
They also bought King this year, remember?
Even bro, they bought King so it can carry on making money. They're not buying King to make a handheld to then try and make money off of that. It's not happening.
They bought it for the Candy Crush money, yeah.
They bought it the same way they bought Minecraft. They didn't buy Minecraft to change Minecraft. They bought it to leave it alone.
They wouldn't have changed Minecraft though.
They bought King because some CEO wanted a bigger bonus at the end of the year.
You're not wrong.
Can I quickly just jump in? Ever so slight tangent. At the beginning of this, you said Bloomberg, Jason Schreier doing great work. That is true. Jason Schreier is doing great work. But this interview was by reporter Dina Bass.
Thank you very much for the correction.
Just credit the right person. And yeah.
Wow.
Just making sure we're on it. I wasn't having a go at you. I was just saying.
Having a go at me. You must have foreshadowed me. I podcast like that.
Came out the wrong way.
Wow. Despawn, you see that?
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm with Matt. Matt was right to call you out on that.
Oh, no, 100%. I was 100%.
I didn't mean for you to sound so accusatory.
I'm very sorry. I'm sorry. Last one from this interview over at Bloomberg. Xbox are not done buying studios. Phil Spencer has gone on to say that they're not done and they're still currently on the lookout for even more video game acquisitions. Quote, we definitely want to be in the market, and when we can find teams and technology and capability that add to what we're trying to do gaming at Microsoft, absolutely we will keep our heads up, said Phil Spencer. What do you think this means, boys? Does this mean a Division level? Does this mean a Minecraft level, or does this just mean if something comes up, we will adapt? We will be able to move quickly as we have done in the past. Where do you think, Desmond?
So I read a bit more into this one because I read the full Bloomberg interview, and it feels like it's more leaning into other markets rather than like going for those massive things. Like he did mention a few times, he was talking about China and like that market and trying to get back into there, and like working with a lot of support studios over there as well. I think he's like it feels like they're trying to do a PlayStation and Bluepoint level acquisition kind of conversation of like finding a really good support studio that they can work with, and something that kind of bolsters their Eastern coverage as well. I think that's more likely than, like you say, like an Activision level. I don't think they're going to turn around and buy Ubisoft or EA or anything like that anytime or ever. But like I could definitely see them buying like some smaller studios in Japan and China.
They're going to go buy Hoyoverse. It's really easy.
Who?
Just buy Tencent.
People make Genshin Impact.
Oh, okay. I mean, that could happen.
No, I can't.
No, it can't. That can't happen.
No, they're partly owned by Tencent. And they also
you're
make
right. No, Tencent,
way too much money to ever look to be
you're right.
bought by a Western company, I think, yeah.
You know who immediately sprung to mind for me was it's not NeoWiz, is it? NeoWiz is the publisher.
Yeah.
Who developed Lies of P?
Yeah, it was NeoWiz.
I think it's
was it?
NeoWiz. I think they're the developers, yeah.
Them.
They sprung to mind?
Because Lies of P was on Game Pass, was far more successful than I think any of you thought it would be.
As a support studio, like,
well,
what Desmond was saying,
not.
Yeah, no.
I think ultimately this is quite vague business bullshit where you go, I'm just going to cover all of our bases by saying, maybe.
There's people talking about Xbox at the end of the year as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, going into what you were saying there, Crash, I don't think they'd look at NeoWiz as a support studio at all. I think they'd look at them as a proper acquisition and be like, we need their next game to be on Xbox.
Hope so.
Yeah,
That's fair.
But yeah, I think like there will be other studios out there that are smaller studios that are already working as support studios in other areas that'll be like, these are going to be a perfect addition for us. But yeah, no, NeoWiz, like if it was NeoWiz, they would be definitely picked up as the next big acquisition for them, as like the next game that comes from that studio is going to be amazing kind of thing.
You'll see it to come soon, right?
Let's hope so.
Haven't really got any updates on it.
Soon.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was yesterday, so still soon.
It's not wrong.
Still soon. Boys, let's get into what's been in our box, shall we? Let's sit here what everyone's been playing this week. I'll kick off just because I haven't played much other than more Veilguard. Still enjoying Dragon Age, still playing up to about 20 hours now. Chipping away at that. Despawn's been helping me with a few little tidbits here and there while he's editing, while he's at work. I enjoy the game. I enjoy the game a lot. I think after 20 hours, I can say I think I played enough to be able to be like, all right, this is what I think of said game. I like the game a lot. I like its simplicity in terms of from an RPG perspective. And this is what I'm about to say is such an unfair comparison, but unfortunately is what I have to compare it to, which is Final Fantasy and Baldur's Gate, and it is nowhere near on that level. It's not even close. And I think that's the biggest letdown for it. I don't think that's I don't think it's a fair assessment though, if I'm being honest with you. They're drastically different games. My issue with Dragon Age is Baldur's Gate allows you to go, and we all know because we play it together, let's pick up this poison and poison that barrel over there, and they'll drink it, and we've just poisoned the whole town. And Dragon Age does, here's your 4 options, and none of them really do much. Do you know what I mean by that? Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, it's a different dialogue option. It's a different, but you don't, and again, drastically different games. I understand that, but I'm just talking about it from like a deep mechanical RPG game, right? Nothing I do in this world feels like I'm making an impact on it, really.
Yeah.
Other than I'm going for the story, which I'm enjoying. I'm talking to these characters, which I'm enjoying. But on a deeper, meaningful level, it's all very surface level storytelling. You know, flirt here, angry here, sad here, and those are the emotions you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And nothing feels like, even when you've got the more section, it sometimes comes up. That just feels like it's a case of like, okay, we're going to elaborate on this piece of information a little bit more, and that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel impactful, anything that I am doing. And that doesn't take away from its really good gameplay, by the way. Really enjoy its moment-to-moment gameplay. I'm learning and liking the maps a lot more now that I'm understanding them a little bit more. I'm starting to unlock shortcuts, which I'm enjoying. I enjoy, running around the world collecting chests and doing like the wolf statues and things like that. Like, everything I'm doing is fun, but the RPG storytelling feels very surface level, and that's kind of where I've come out on the game so far.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't see it as a detriment. I'm just kind of like, I think it's for me.
By the way.
Yeah, no, but I think it's because I come from a history of loving. I love my BioWare games, so I'm used to that kind of gameplay loop. Like, BioWare games definitely feel like you are a guest in their world story that they're telling, as opposed to a Baldur's Gate where you are the person telling that story. You are the one who drives that story. Like, granted, there's an end goal at some point, but you very much feel like you are along for the ride rather than you are controlling the destination.
I'm going to disagree as far as Mass Effect is concerned. I don't think Mass Effect feels like you're along for the ride necessarily. Like, yeah, there's a predetermined like path you're going down, but like the choices you make are impactful in Mass Effect, and I think that's what Fix is talking about.
I think they're impactful to the way that characters speak to you and you interact with them, and like the story you have with those characters.
Sure, but that is a large part of the BioWare games, no?
And that's what this is. That's what this is. This is that as well, I would say. Go on, please.
I would say that it isn't. Like, again, we talked about it last week about like my issues with the characters and the story that you have with them. I feel like this is the worst version of that in a BioWare game. And it's not, when I say it's a word, like, I keep having to feel like I defend myself, but like, I don't think it's bad. I think it's a choice, but it wouldn't be the choice that I would make. Like, I never feel like any of the decisions and conversations that I have are leading to specific like outcomes. I feel like I'm always heading to the same ending. Sadly, one of the things that I found out, I don't want to say it. Yeah, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to ruin it for people that are playing it. But I did find out some things about like the story and structure and stuff like that didn't make me happy. Like, I'm still like enjoying the journey. Again, like I say, the journey itself is fine. I just wish there were options within that journey that I could directly influence. There are like,
I'm 20 hours in, right? And again, I don't think this is a spoiler, but like I want to make a decision that really does something.
Yeah,
I think there's one decision that I've done that was meant to feel like that.
Yeah,
and it doesn't.
It didn't.
You know what one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to say what it is for those that haven't played it or out there yet, but there is one particular, I think it's like chapter 6 or 7. You have basically a this or that choice,
exactly.
And it's like, and it will actively affect the world and how some of the characters react to you. But it feels very linear and black and white, and like if I'd made the other way choice, I feel like it wouldn't have affected the world at all.
All it's done is gone, oh, this character doesn't want to have sex with you anymore.
Boo.
Like, and now they, again, I don't think this is a spoiler, but it's like You tell me again. I'll say it. I don't think like it affects relationship. It affects the way they will battle with you, and it affects conversation. I guess like they're going to be a bit more standoffish. Again, I've only just done it, so I haven't actually interacted with the character again yet. But I'm like, I don't give two craps. Like it didn't feel like a moment the way I feel like it was meant to. I felt like it needs to be a very much like this entire part of the map now is destroyed and everybody here is dead and they hate your bloody guts. And this person's gonna come back and be with you, but I'm gonna make you feel it every time we do something. And maybe again, I haven't really got there yet with that, but it hasn't done that for me yet. You know what I mean? Because he comes back, they come back in because it depends on which way that you go, right? So they come back in, and he's like, "Yeah, we're not happy with you."
Yeah, so I'm gonna be on it, like just to kind of set you up for like disappointment. Nothing really changes.
Yeah, I didn't think it would.
It like literally the decision that you make, you go back into the world, and like even though it says like, oh, everyone's gonna hate you, no one hates you.
Yeah,
like it doesn't really affect that. It's like traversal in some areas might be different, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
It's like this is the thing. Like when you say like back in the Mass Effect days, like conversations mattered, like the decisions that you make mattered to the story that you were going through. Nothing matters.
Do you have an example of that, right? Because it's kind of hard to, as somebody who hasn't played the game, to like follow what you guys are saying in terms of scope, right? Like, so when you were talking then, I was like, oh, I think this is why I prefer Fallout 3 over Fallout 4, because you are very early on faced with that decision of what to do with Megaton. Do you blow up Megaton? And you're doing exactly what you were saying, Fix. You destroy an entire town if you want, or you, and then how it interacts with Tenpenny Tower and like goes on from there, and it really has an impact on the world. Exactly, that's kind of the way I felt. And so like I'm like, is there a point in Mass Effect where you have a decision like that where you like
Dragon Age, you mean, or Mass Effect?
Well, Mass Effect. I'm talking about something you feel like you can spoil at this point. Like, is there a point in your memory where you have? I had a real fucking impact on that world right there.
There is a specific point in like Mass Effect. I'm going to say 1.
You can spoil your Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, I'm spoiling Mass Effect 1.
You can. Yes. So there's no limits on this. Jesus.
There is a specific. I'm trying to remember which one it was in, but I think it was 1. There is a specific. Or it might actually be 2. There is a specific point where you have to make a choice between who stays and who goes on a mission.
It's
and
2.
That person dies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2.
Yeah.
Now you have me second guessing myself. It might be 1.
There is also points in 3 as well where you have to decide if you let someone go do something, and if they do it, they will die. So like there are hard choices where your decisions matter. Whereas
that's kind of what I was hoping for in this decision in this game. Like I was kind of like, and that's kind of why I made the decision. Yeah. Okay. Long as can we just go back a step though?
Yeah.
Remember everything that I said. Combat, really good. I really enjoy the characters. I really enjoy the conversations I am having. I fancy the pants off Hardin. I bring her everywhere with me so her bond goes up, so I can keep flirting with her. Like, I'm still enjoying this game, but going with the right expectations of like, you're right. It feels like I'm on a roller coaster, right? And I'm able to turn the roller coaster left or right.
Yeah.
In terms of, but that's about it. Like I can't tell it to speed up. I can't tell it to slow down.
Yeah.
Like I can't make it do an extra loopy loop. Like it's left or right, and that's it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the track ends at the same point.
Yeah.
It's like
exactly.
You just gotta like, as long as you know that you are in for a specific kind of ride. And that ride is good.
That ride.
Ride is good. Yeah, exactly. Like again, we mentioned it last week about how I was very down on the characters and like their interactions with the main character. I'm a bit more up on it this time as I've got further into the game, and like there is a turning point where you start having to. The game basically says, "All right, this is like the next step in the main story. you need to start building these relationships a bit more with your characters to kind of like build the team properly, kind of thing. And those kind of missions that you start going on at that point are very good. Like you start getting some proper backstory behind the characters and like seeing more of their motivations. And like initially I was very much like, none of these characters have flaws. None of them have real issues that they're dealing with. But now I'm starting to get to that point where I'm like they have like certain issues that they kind of touch on, but like now I'm starting to get to that point where like I'm having like tangible real conversations with certain characters where it's like, damn, okay, I see where they're coming from and like what their motivations are starting to be now. And those are really good. But again, whatever those motivations are, I don't feel like I can affect them in any way.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on because I'm sure we'll talk about it again next week as well until we complete the game. But that's what I've been playing. We'll move over to you, Crash. What have you been playing, my dude?
I haven't been playing much. I played more Metaphor. I played a bit more Call of Duty again this week. I think I'm done with zombies for the most part. I've hit my like limit on it. If somebody wants to play and they ask me, 70% chance I'll say yes. 30% chance I'll be like, no, I just don't feel it.
Yeah.
Fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
If it's one of you guys, it's for sure a no. If Matt asks me, it's probably a yes. We can go to the boat.
Go to the boat. Boat live.
Boat live, baby.
I didn't play it, and I had the demo downloaded. The thing you tagged me on Twitter before I left Twitter.
Wait,
it was
there was a demo? I didn't even realize.
Yeah. There's a demo for it.
Realize.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I'm looking forward to playing that soon.
So for those that don't know, what is it? What game? Because you didn't mention it.
I don't remember the name. Which is why. It's Midnight something, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's so for those who don't know, it's like a 3D beat 'em up, like imagine Streets of Rage but in 3D.
People were talking about Sleeping Dogs specifically in comparison. Yes.
Age of Blood. I played it.
Oh.
Yes, Acts of Blood.
Age of Blood,
yeah.
Whatever.
Is it good? Because again, I've tagged Christian it like, hey, yo, this looks like a me and you game if it's co-op. Like, let's do this.
Not co-op, as far as I'm aware.
I found out.
I would equate it way more to like a Sifu. It's early, it's basic, but it has the makings of something interesting for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Chris, what do you think of it? Oh, you ain't played it. You'll play it.
I haven't played it. Yeah.
Right.
The demo's really short, in and out, 20 minutes maybe.
Gresh, I need you to say this one more time, very loud and clear for me, because I keep avoiding it. Do I need to play Metaphor? Need
Such a hard word.
No, because again, end of the let me ask you this. At the end of the year, are you going to try and put this high on the My Xbox and Me?
Yes, if that's what you mean by need. Yes, you need to play it.
I need to play it. Okay,
you need to play it.
I've got moments in the evenings where I'm there like, I want to go to bed, but maybe I've got a couple of hours in me. Should I just start it? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to start it. I'm like, I really need to start this game if I'm going to start this game, you know?
So you have the full game already?
Yeah. I've got the full game, yeah.
Fair enough.
Why?
I was just going to say because this demo's like 7 hours long.
Yeah, you can play the prologue, I know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
might have been a good spot.
I previewed the game and played, I've probably played 3 hours of Metaphor, previews and various events and stuff like that. But I know it's not for me, so
yeah,
I'll let you guys fight out that listing. But Fix, I've been having a similar conversation myself in some of the evenings. And you know what I've gone to?
Uh-oh. Elden
Ring Shadow of the Erdtree.
Nice.
Started chipping away at that again. It's so good, isn't it? It's so good.
Can we play the co-op mode? Can we do the co-op mod, please? I still want to do it together.
On PlayStation, so no.
Oh, well, you suck.
We could.
Yeah, we could.
We could do it.
Yeah.
We could do it. The three of us could do it. We've all got it on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got it on PC. I could spec.
Oh, now you want to join Matt?
Now you want to play. Now you
pretending you're going to play. Why are you pretending
you're not
going
to be free? Yeah.
All of my mates have stopped playing Black Ops, so I've got time again now.
It'll last long.
How many times have you blown off this podcast to just play games with your friends?
Never.
Damn.
Fix was hoping to have one up on you right now.
I was hoping to have one. I was hoping to be like, oh, there was this one time. I'm sorry. Damn, man. Too good a person.
Date night with Emma, different story.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
work. It's mostly work.
Yeah.
I wasn't know that, but yeah, I left Haley at the
mostly
table today, midway through dinner. Like, hey, I gotta go podcast. Love you, bye.
Damn.
Love it, bye.
yeah,
Yeah,
boys.
Shadow of the
Yes,
Erdtree. Stoping it. So good.
How far into it are you?
No, I don't think I'm very far, but like I honestly can't remember how much time I put into it before I left it.
Right.
You know, months ago, and then like I'm back in now, and I'm like I kind of remember what I'm doing, but not really. And I've definitely like gone to a brand new area, and I know I didn't fully explore the previous area and stuff like that, you know. But it's just Elden Ring is just such a special game, man. Like every little crevice you worm your way through, and then it expands into this crazy thing, and they're like 20 knights fighting a fucking dragon over there, and oh my god, what is going on? It's chaos. It's absolutely stunning and amazing. And
Shit, we have to do that, Despawn.
I do. I will say one thing. Mesmer's Knights
Shadow of the
still suck
Erdtree?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so we can argue it down the list on New Year.
I mean,
I say that,
we'll
but
see where it ends up on the list.
I'm going to say like,
gonna go high. Yeah.
yeah,
What?
it's going to go high. Yeah, I'm going to argue it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be another year where we put a DLC in the top 10.
It'll be in the
expansion.
top 10.
It's not even
Expansion.
it's an
Yeah,
expansion.
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fine with that. Doesn't
Okay.
hurt me. Doesn't hurt me.
Okay.
Matt, anything else you've been playing? Or just that?
Yep. Because you lot wouldn't shut up about it last week. Your boys
Oh.
fully addicted to Pokemon trading card game on
Yeah,
Pocket
baby.
or whatever.
Ladies
it's
and
called.
gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah. We
I'm
got
opening
another
booster
one.
packs. Battling people. I'm all in. I'm not loving the online battle system
Yeah.
of going like,
It's broken, that's why.
yeah,
There's
of
like,
it just being luck as to going like, we're only going to incentivize you to build decks of one type. And if you match up against somebody you're weak to, good luck, friendo, because you're going down.
there are currently two decks which are OP right now. All we
Yeah,
can see is the
live
white
pack
screen.
opening. We all do live pack opening on pod.
I can't. I don't have the points for it. So
I am currently opening a pack. Here we go for the search of the Moltres EX. Here we go, everybody.
we can't see it, but okay.
Moltres suck.
I mean,
Tilt the cards. Let's see what you got. Rarity. Show us the
You
rarities.
should have opened it from behind.
No, I don't do that. Raticate, Magmar, Bushy, I don't know, Abra, Zebra Striker. Yeah, I hate this game. I hate it. I hate it.
My last four packs that I opened all had full art card arts at the end. I think
Bro,
two
I've
of
had a
them were both
good pack. I've still
Rapidashes.
not had a good pack, not once.
I mean,
Oh, I went through a dry period since before we had recorded the last podcast where I wasn't getting any good packs, and then my last four last four packs were all pretty good.
save
Open
it,
it.
Chicks. Save
Should
it,
we
Chicks.
get-
Open it.
Wait,
Should we
let
get
Matt
real
do his
freaky,
first.
boys?
Yeah.
Matt, go on, Matt. You first. Go on.
What you got?
Rubbish. Rapidash, Paris, just absolute trash. Nidorina, Nidorina, Squirtle. Yeah, just a hellish pack.
Yeah.
Awful.
No.
Throw
I
my
am-
phone out
as-
window pack.
As I was saying, there are basically right now the online battles are a bit broken. There are basically two packs or two decks that you need to be running. It's either the Mewtwo deck or the Pikachu deck.
Pikachu for life, baby.
Pikachu for life.
I was running it before I even knew it was
Yeah,
metal.
same. Yeah.
Well,
as soon
there's
as,
the
so-
special Pikachu.
Yeah.
EX.
Yeah.
because the EX version gives you like an extra 30 damage for every
Yep.
lightning
Lightning
Pokemon you've got on
out
your
the back.
bench.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, it was really good when you were doing the Lapras event because it's obviously water type. So it's just like destroying. But now it's like the goal right now, I am after one card and one card only. I want a Gardevoir, which is the one I need to build out my Mewtwo
Okay,
deck.
correct. Yep.
Yeah. Because it basically...
You can trade
it'll-
you. Oh,
No,
trade
it's not.
system the game, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Fix, you need a Moltres EX? I can't trade you. It's unfortunate.
That hurt, bro. That hurt. You know it did.
Yeah.
I've literally got Haley in. Like, so we went out. So just story time for the podcast. Like, as you can't, I don't know if you can see behind me or not. I have a Charizard box back there. I have a booster box back there. I went out and bought top loaders. I bought a whole box of a booster box of cards and opened them on stream. It's Matt's fault, by the way. He unlocked something in me.
Yeah.
Showing me those cards.
Yeah.
Showing me those cards unlocked
Fix.
something in me.
Open a pack right now.
Open a pack. Do it for the podcast audience.
If you're an audio listener, I apologize. Fix will read off every card he gets.
Be ready for how bad this is because I've been doing this live and it's not pretty. Armoroga. A Dusk Ball, a Hilo Liski,
Sure.
Clubopus, Tilio, Relor, Jasmine Gaze, Reverse Horror. I got an Ogaru, a Clubopus, and my Hollow
Ooh.
is that is terrible condition. A Gouging Fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
One sec. Oh.
You'll never do the pack opening on TikTok. You'll never get big at this point. Come on.
Oh, tell me, I can't read them, bro. Like literally, we bought the cards and opened them, and I said to Haley, I said,
You need to be here for this.
I said, H, I can't read. She's like, no, you just don't know what the words are. They're like, I'm like, yeah,
They're made up words. Yeah, they're not real words.
It's bad.
Yeah, I started watching Pokemon.
She's in, bro. She's like, oh, so are we gonna start watching? She's like, oh, Netflix has this and this version has that. And, oh, there's a new Horizon, by the way. The kids at school were telling me Ash is not in it anymore. I was like,
yeah.
Harold, he told you that. And I'm like, she's in. She's so ready. Like, it's crazy. She went to buy a booster box the other day. I was like, no, relax.
Yeah.
Mine's a tax write-off. Yours isn't. Relax.
Yeah. I know it's old news at this point, but because we're all in on Pokemon, I just want to shout out Ash. Congratulations on becoming a Pokemon champion.
Yeah,
It took you long enough. Yeah, but you got there. We believe in you. We always believed.
Does he really deserve the shout out?
He did the job, right?
That's our guy.
Is that guy? Let's catch him. Is that guy?
I don't think he's my guy.
Wow. Who's your guy?
My guy was at it for 20 years. Didn't evolve his Pikachu.
Didn't need to.
My guy. That's your Pokemon tree. That's one you
guy.
choose.
That's my guy right
One who doesn't know how to battle.
Oh, he knows how to battle.
Yeah, okay. The one who loses advantage types just because he's done. Yeah, okay. Your guy. Okay.
He's a fighting champion, right? He's a fighting champion.
He has a
Hashtag not my Pokemon champion.
Hashtag yeah.
All right. Anything else anyone's been playing before we move on?
No, literally just a Veilguard at the moment.
Fair enough. All right, our first story on this week's dashboard. South of Midnight previews have come out. The game is targeting 60 FPS. A documentary has just dropped on the game, and the first set of previews have also dropped. Again, I've watched a bunch of previews. The thing that's concerning me the most is they didn't give anyone any gameplay through the game. So if you've watched IGN's preview, which is the one I watched, they did say in the preview that they didn't get given any gameplay to put into their previews, which is very interesting. I don't think that's happened for a while with a game. So
I think it's
one of that.
I think the reason they would do that is because they dropped the documentary. And the documentary, Despawn, you can correct, has a bunch of gameplay, new gameplay in it. So that would be the assumption. They don't want to overwhelm with new gameplay out there.
I agree, but just at least give them the gameplay that you've put out there in the documentary and let previewers cut up that.
But they used it. They cut it up.
They do that anyway. Yeah. The previews are doing that anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Well, again, you watched me watch it online, right? And a bunch of people have uploaded the footage from the documentary. The audio's balked and they're calling it previews and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, this is horrible. And it's like, no, they're just not doing it properly. I just think you alleviate some of those issues if you just let people play the game, capture their gameplay, and then move on.
Yeah, I agree with you in so much. Like, it doesn't, because a lot of people will not be checking out the documentary first. They'll be checking out the people's previews. Yeah. And it doesn't show it in the best light if they're using third-party footage and bad audio.
It's bad audio. Thank you. You've got that. It's the re-ripping for me. So I'm watching this. This game's already in stop motion, right?
Yeah. Like 24 frames already.
Yeah. But then you re-upload something that's already been uploaded, and it's like you're looking at it like that looks horrible. Then you go watch the actual gameplay in the documentary, like, oh no, it does look like a good game. So it's one of those ones for me. But I didn't get to watch the documentary yet because I watch all my video game documentaries with Haley, and she's only just got home. This only just came out. But I did watch the previews. How are you feeling about the game? Decent, we'll start with you because you watched the documentary.
Yeah. I'm excited and cautious as well at the same time. One of the reason I'm cautious is one of the things that I said in the documentary. It seems like the gameplay isn't the focus. Everything around the gameplay is the focus. So music, art style, the story that they're telling, all of that is a bigger focus than the actual moment-to-moment gameplay. Which
do they? Because I saw this in the preview. Do they literally say that?
Yeah, there is moments where where that is mentioned.
That is a wild statement to make about
for a video game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm 100% like my sentiment walking away from the preview at least mirrors Despawn's, where it's like I think artistically they're doing a lot of cool stuff. I might not like the stop motion even in execution, but the reason they're doing it is valid. That's their vision, whatever. That's all cool. It's more so the conversation around gameplay and where they're like, that's in the back of it. It's more so a story focus and all that stuff. And it's only a 10-hour game. I don't know. I think that's in the IGN preview.
But that was wrong, by the way.
wrong.
Apparently,
that was
IGN
wrong?
have literally, they're getting trash in the comments for it. Apparently, they've said 15 to 20 hours. And IGN have put out a thing saying 10 hours. They got slewed on Twitter and had to remove a tweet, but they haven't removed it from their preview. Just to put that out there for people.
That's fair. Okay. Okay. But yeah, so it's just a little bit of a bit more wary around it just from that perspective. I still think everything we've seen, the new gameplay and stuff like that, looks clean. It looks fun. So hopefully it's not that they're completely like, it's not a Hellblade 2 situation, right? I think that's the best comparison you can make. Where it's just Hellblade 2 to me feels more like of a narrative focus as opposed to gameplay focus. Like the gameplay, you don't need to have gameplay in that whole experience to be honest with
I mean, you can argue there wasn't that much gameplay in there, but yeah, it very much like felt like style over substance, and it weirdly feels like that is the driving force behind this one as well. Like there is definitely gameplay there, but it's more like the traversal and basic combat. Although I saw one of the boss fights again, so it's about the one that they've shown already, the two-toe Tom, the giant gator. That actually looks really cool and interesting.
Like I don't need Devil May Cry, right? I don't need this like in-depth combat system. I just need something that's serviceable and fun. And so you don't have to have, so like this isn't something that's so super cautious, like, oh, this isn't going to end up being a good game. It's just a little bit more wary, right? With the way they're talking about it. But I do think their focus on selling the game right now is narrative, setting, and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I think in certain circumstances, that is fine, right? Like the problem you get is when gameplay isn't your focus and you shove gameplay down the gamer's throat, right? Like the worst bits of Hellblade are when it goes, okay, cool, now fight waves and waves of enemies until you're bored senseless.
Yeah.
The combat is serviceable in Hellblade, but it is not fun, so don't make me do it for so long. Whereas, something like The Artful Escape does not do anything new gameplay-wise, but it's all about story and all about narrative and world and characters, and then bits of gameplay are sprinkled throughout, and they don't overstay their welcome. And so I think it's just about having that balance. You look at like maybe these are bad examples, actually. I was going to say like The Walking Dead or Life is Strange.
Like Life is Strange, like quote unquote walking sims, which we would call them, right?
But maybe they're bad examples because they're basically, they don't really have gameplay in the sense of like combat or things that you're doing over and over again. That are like gameplay mechanics. I don't know if I'm really wording what I'm saying.
The gameplay loop. Yeah, I get you.
I get you.
Yeah. I agree. I think the biggest like worry about Midnight, why am I forgetting the name? South of Midnight, is that gameplay loop. Is whenever they put you into that combat, how does that combat feel? As long as it's not tedious and it doesn't feel too boring and it doesn't feel like it drags on too much, I think you can get by with like serviceable combat if the rest of the game is like really above and beyond.
And as far as I have seen, I think it is, right? Like it's doing something really, really interesting visually. It's doing something with an interesting mythology that hasn't been played out to death.
Yeah.
Like it's got all these elements where I'm super intrigued. And as far as a game like this goes, me being super intrigued is as good as you're gonna get from me at this point, right? Until it's in my hands, right? So like I'm definitely gonna play it. I guess that is my concern. Like, similar to you, Fix, off the back of the previews, is like, man, I hope it's not like really fucking awesome cutscene that lasts 2 minutes and then an hour and a half of gameplay that I really don't want, just so I can get to the next cool 2-minute cutscene.
Yeah,
absolutely. My question for you, Despawn, would be, how's the documentary? Because the reason I fell in love with Compulsion, because I've been talking about Compulsion for anyone who's listening to the podcast now. I've been talking about Compulsion for years now, since I watched the We Happy Few doc, which We Happy Few wasn't a me game, didn't enjoy it to the level that I was hoping for. But I watched that documentary walking away being like, this studio is going to be a top AAA studio one day. How is the documentary itself? Because quite short, it's only 30 minutes.
Yeah, phenomenal. For a documentary, it is genuine. The main focuses are very much about art style, the story, and the music, and the details that they go into about like the authenticity of it all. It's fantastic. I think they've done like what they are setting out to do. I think they're going to nail perfectly, and the documentary does a really good job of explaining that. It does a really good job of like talking about the people behind the stories and where these stories came from and why they want to tell these stories specifically. I think it is a wonderful job done by everyone involved. I definitely like, if you are even like tangentially interested in how games are made, go watch this documentary. Like you say, it's only 30 minutes. It gives you a ton of like new views on this game itself. Like specifically as me and Fix, you're probably the same, like being from a musical background and seeing like how they go into like dealing with like the music choices that they've made. Like they went to New Orleans and got authentic musicians from the time, and when they choose to use different music, they do it for a reason. It's such a fantastic documentary. Like everyone should watch it if you're a fan of them.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm openly excited for the game. I guess we'll see more very, very soon. Speaking of seeing more, Indiana Jones got its deep dive 14-minute gameplay. We've got a few questions here. I assume everyone's watched the 40 minutes of gameplay.
Yep.
Perfect. Anubis says, Xbox have given us a deep dive of both Indiana Jones and South of Midnight. How are you feeling about seeing them? Those? Anything stand out to you didn't know before? The South of Midnight stuff, I think we just went over, so I'm not gonna bother with that. Indiana Jones, I think it might be the best showing of Indiana Jones that I've seen, in my opinion. Interested. For me, I really enjoyed what I saw of the game, way more than what I saw in previous showings. I don't know. The gameplay looked good. It gave me the loop that I was expecting. It was a lot more open in terms of like costume changes and this, that, and the other. It felt to me, again, I didn't play Dishonored, but I've watched enough of it. It feels very Dishonored, which is only a compliment from as far as what I can tell from people. I got me more excited for the game other than the combat. If I'm honest with you, the combat system looks quite clunky and quite annoying. I haven't played it yet, but it looks annoying already.
Just say bad. It looked bad. I don't
this. Yeah, okay, sure.
This has put me off completely. This whole preview. Like I didn't like the character model movement. Like Indy feels very flat throughout.
Did you guys see when they opened the gameplay sequence and there's voice lines? Do you guys pay attention to the lips at all?
No.
They're not even like remotely close, which it's a preview, so I'm not going to hold too much against it. But the second I saw that, it put me off for the rest of it, where I'm like, I don't like any of this.
It's a deep dive.
Yeah, it's a deep dive.
Yeah. You know what? That's
no disrespect, but like this is from Xbox. They put this out.
Yeah, it's a deep dive from a game that's coming out in a month. Yeah. This the facial animations don't look great. Like there is no life behind those eyes at all. It feels very much like, I know they're trying to capture Indiana Jones's like Harrison Ford's face from the original Ninja films, but it very much feels like his lips move, his eyes look around, but there is no expressions on his face at all. And it feels very uncanny valley, which I guess because you're trying to facilitate a famous star's face in a video game, but it just does not work for me. And the combat, it feels very clunky, or it looks it anyway. It's like, how are you using a loud whip as a stealth mechanic for a start? Like you could hear that whip from like
Get
2
over
blocks
that.
away. But I can get over
That's to fit
that.
the fantasy.
That I can get over, kinda. But then when it comes to like the hand-to-hand combat, it just feels very, I don't know, basic is the word I lean to straight away. And it just doesn't feel like these kind of games is living out that fantasy, right? This doesn't feel like a fantasy I'd want to live out.
It's the fantasy of Indiana Jones, and I'd argue every action sequence we see in this feels like it belongs in an Indiana Jones movie.
Great.
So I agree with you. I don't think it looks good, but I also don't like Indiana Jones, and I don't see that big of a difference from my point of view.
Preach.
I do like Indiana Jones. Well, I like 2 of the 4 films.
Yes. So here's the problem, right? You haven't liked Indiana Jones for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But the problem
You're
is,
making...
no, but they are trying to tell a story in the heyday of Indiana Jones. This is based in the heyday.
It's not the heyday.
That's the problem. Like, Indiana Jones is a product of its time. It is,
but
Harrison Ford and fucking Spielberg, and like when family movies were like that, and we're punching Nazis and all this stuff. Like, it's so old fashioned. Yeah. Gen Z doesn't give a fuck about Indiana Jones.
These ones reminiscing, and you're like, it's so old.
Yeah. No, sorry, he had me at punching Nazis. I'm sorry, I'm all in again. I'm in.
I'm indifferent to Indiana Jones, right? Like I'm not. I didn't grow up on him in the same way I did on Star Wars. Like that was my Indiana Jones. So like. There are moments in this preview deep dive, because Press previewed it at the same time. So Josh, who is on my team, went and played it for 3 hours, and he said similar to what everybody else has been saying, right? It's way more Dishonored than it is Wolfenstein. But then what was interesting from our coverage is so many people saying, "Oh, this is giving like first-person Hitman." I was like, "That's interesting." A lot of the stuff about disguises and stealth and those kinds of things. Like these like semi-open worlds with things to explore, but essentially they're relatively. And that's
what I liked about it, by the way. All of that stuff they've shown I liked.
Totally, and it comes back to exactly what we were just saying about South by Midnight, right? That boxing first-person hand-to-hand combat looks awful, and I think everybody's kind of saying that. How much are you going to force me into that, Indiana Jones? Because if this is like quite a fun stealth game where I can approach situations differently, like that bit where he's in a disguise, he approaches a table full of Nazis, one of them gets up and he's like, "Give me a beer," or whatever, and he goes and gets him a beer, and then that calms him down. I'm like, this is interesting, this could be fun. Agreed. And then followed by him like dodge, ducking, dipping, diving, and it's like, oh no, I don't like any of this.
If you could dodge a wrench, you can dodge a Nazi.
Exactly that. And then he gets knocked out, and it's like, oh yeah, but if you can crawl over to your hat and put your hat on, you get an extra life. And I'm like, you know what? I'm back in. That's fucking sick. I love that.
Don't get me wrong. Like, there are certain moments in like that sound amazing. Like, again, like the world building that they're doing is fantastic. I think those elements that you're talking about are great. But it's those moment to moment gameplay elements that you're gonna have. Like, again, combat is going to be very much like you'll shoot, which we know machine games are good at, or you'll be hand to hand combat, which every preview, like, you don't think machine games is a good?
No, I think they're fantastic. I didn't think the shooting in this looked good though.
No,
but it's not meant to be, right? Like, it's like, oh, you might pick up a revolver that has 2 bullets.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, like Indiana Jones was never very much.
Sure, but what I saw didn't look good in shooting. So I mean, like, it's like the opposite of like Dragon Age, right? Like, everything else that I like around this game isn't the moment to moment stuff. It's the world, and it's the like you've just went on to say, like, it feels like Indiana Jones. So they've nailed it. Whether that's good or bad, we don't know yet because we've not played it ourselves. But yeah, it's going to be an Indiana Jones game, and I mean, I'm interested to see how it does. I really am.
Yeah,
I really, really am. But
what I would say as well is I actually disagree with you, Despawn, in the like dead behind the eyes thing. Like, I think like anytime they show India, I'm engaged with this. Like when he puts on the hat with his like extra life and he's like the eyebrow cocked and all that shit, I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Like, this seems like fun and I could get on board.
I think for those, like, where you say like those in game when you're playing moments, I think, they've probably put more effort in than the cutscenes. It's the cutscenes themselves specifically where it just doesn't feel like there's any like character to him.
I think I understand why they went to have Harrison Ford as like the face model, and that's who they were going for, I think it does them a disservice because it's really hard to do it to an accurate level. Like we've seen it be successful more often than not now, because I think the games have been having a good run. I don't think face models have ever been Bethesda's like strong suit in particular.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, so I think this is about as good as you'd get from. I think it's better than Bethesda's normal face animations and models, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, we're saying Bethesda. This is like specifically Machine Game. Like Machine Games, like the Wolfenstein characters. Yeah, but it's not Bethesda Game Studios. It's who are making the games.
But I don't think I'd look at Machine Games and say they have.
But I'd say they're better. I'd say they're better than a Bethesda game. Yeah,
saying, right? It's better. I think
I don't think this. I don't. Like, well, I mean, I think it's better than using a character creator to create all your NPCs, yeah. But but what I'm saying is, what I was going to say is, I actually agree with Crash. I think the detriment is because they're trying to capture Harrison Ford, but you're not capturing Harrison Ford's mannerisms and his facial tics and these things in gameplay. You're not getting that level of detail in there.
Be fair. It's a first-person game. You're not going to be seeing it that often.
True. But that's the thing, though. Like, the story is not going to be first-person, is it? Like, the story elements, the cutscenes and everything, the moment-to-moment, as I say, like, story beats are all going to be these cutscenes, which every time I see them, they're taking me out of this experience completely.
There's no way you get away with refacing Harrison Ford in this game.
No, I think
this trailer had come out and had been Troy Baker's face. There's no fucking way.
Troy Baker's voice already throws me off, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's just.
It sounds just like Troy Baker, which is.
I think that's just.
You think it does?
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like Troy Baker, like he's speaking from the back of his throat.
Again, I think this is we are in the top 1% of people who know who Troy Baker is.
Absolutely.
I think if you're an Indiana Jones
100%.
guy who has a Game Pass subscription, you're jumping into this game and you're probably assuming they got Harrison Ford or a sound alike, and you don't care.
No.
It's a sound alike for sure.
I disagree. I agree with you on this. Like 99% of people will not understand the difference. I agree with you. But because we are in that 1%, we're all, or at least me and Crash in this instance, are thrown off. Again, it's hard when it's even more so. Like I've interviewed him a few times now, right? I met him a few times. Like that's all I can hear. I can't hear anything other than like, oh yeah, that's Troy Baker. Okay.
Yeah, that's Troy Baker.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, no disparaging to like Troy Baker. I think he's done a fantastic job for what he's been asked to do. It's just at the end of the day, it is clearly Troy Baker doing a Harrison Ford impression.
Doesn't even sound like an impression though.
Yeah, I don't. I'm with Fix on that.
That's not, and I don't think that's a negative either. I think
Troy Baker sounds like Troy Baker, unless he's doing.
I'd love to interview him and find out what and talk about like
what the process is.
What was the process for doing this? Because you clearly had to make it your own, but by still using, an iconic face. Like, I'd love to ask these questions. Maybe one day. Should we move on a little bit, boys? We've still got a question here from Eldoza and Topless, so let me quickly read those. With the latest game development documentary in South of Midnight and both it and indie being received positively, do you feel that Xbox have started to hit form when it comes to first party development and output? Although they still have to work on release cadence. And then Toplift says, with its release not far off from now, what are your hype levels for Indiana Jones: The Great Circle? We'll start with the Toplift question, shall we? Matt, out of 10 hype levels for Indy.
Solid 7.
Crash?
Mid-table, meh.
Good old goose egg.
Zero.
To be fair, I'm gonna be fair. I've talked about this game. I have not been interested in this game up to this point. If it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't play this game when it comes out. Just to be 100% fair with it.
You probably still won't play it. Despawn, what about you?
I will definitely play it, but my hype levels were like a lot higher than they are now. I'd say I'm like about a 6 right now.
Yeah, I'm probably a solid 5. I was at the really 0 level.
It's really bad to say that we're like middling for a first party Xbox game.
No, because it's just not a game that speaks to us. I've said this before. Like, who is interested in an Indiana Jones game other than old people?
I was.
Yeah, you're old.
I am. Yeah. Very.
Like this was just.
He's spamming that oblivious old guy.
I just missed this. Like, this is not an IP that I give a crap about.
Yeah.
Like, again, the more I see of it, the more I'm like, oh yeah, my dad did have these films on when I was a kid. And like, I hear the music and I'm like, oh yeah, I do. I kind of, yeah, I'll give this a go. But it feels like to me the same thing with Star Wars, right? Where like, I couldn't give a crap about Star Wars other than Jar Jar Binks. But when a new game comes out, I'm hype.
I forgot to tell you.
I know, voice actor, he's back. I know. Don't worry, baby.
Yeah,
I've got notifications for Jar Jar Binks news, baby. Don't worry about that.
For those out there that don't know, Ahmed Best, the voice actor behind Jar Jar Binks, is actually working on South of Midnight as their voice director.
Yeah.
Which is awesome to see. Yeah, so you'll get to see him in the documentary.
Oh, cool.
That means we can confirm South by Midnight is a Star Wars universe.
Yeah, Star Wars universe.
Jar Jar Binks is going to show up.
If I don't see a mod that says Mr. Mister and instead of a Gatorish Jar Jar Binks that I'm fighting, who cares? Who cares?
A giant Jar Jar Binks just going around trying to eat you. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Misa fighting Toothless Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second question, sorry, Eldozos. I don't know if I can't really agree with you on either of those, any of that, because neither of the games are out. Like, it's very easy to be positive on a 14-minute gameplay and a preview documentary, but until we've played the games, and I don't even think they've actually been that widely positive. I think it's been middling for both, because from Indiana Jones' point of view, you've got people who are complaining about the combat, and same thing, and then on the Midnight side of things, you've got people complaining about the stop motion, which, again, if you understand what they're going for, you're fine. But if you don't know that it's a stop motion game, people are saying there's frame rate issues. And it's like, no, there isn't. There very clearly isn't frame rate issues. So yeah, I don't know if it has been positive as a whole. I think people who are interested in those games are hot on those games, and then the middle ground people are just sort of still waiting to be sold. I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong, but
even if these were positively well received, you have to go back to Cyberpunk when that was first previewed. That got glowing reception from people. The game came out and it was a mess. Like, previews don't mean anything. They mean to a degree to stuff, but people take them away more, their value farther than they should. And so I think these two having whether positive or not, I don't think it's a basis to start saying that Xbox has started turning it around with their first parties until they're out and we've played them. I think we can revisit this conversation when Indiana Jones comes out, and if that's received generally well across the board.
Even if Indiana Jones gets 10s out of 10s, Xbox haven't turned it around this year.
No, I don't disagree with that.
Like, they generally haven't. So
yeah,
go on.
I was gonna say, there's no way it gets 10s out of 10s, is there?
No, of course not. But I'm just saying, even if it did, the Xbox still didn't have a. We'll talk about this next year more, but like, still didn't have a good year in my opinion. But we will talk about that next time. All right, that's it for news, boys. These other stories I'm not that stressed about. Let's do Guess That Game. Matt, chat to me.
This is Guess That Game. It's back for another week. I've picked a game, and the boys have 1 minute and 30 seconds to ask me yes or no questions to try and identify what that game is. Allow me to get the timer ready. We're going to go.
Reintroduce myself. My name is Fix. Sorry, Carol.
No, please.
Well, you're not going to finish it. You're just going to stop there. My name is. Like,
My name is. Huh?
I want to know more about you. I want to know more about you, Fix.
What I want to know, Fix. I want to know what the scores are currently.
Yeah, sure. All right, I can give you those. Crash is currently sitting at number 1 spot with 13 points. Despawn, you are currently sitting in second position with 10 points. Matt, you're dead last with 5, and I'm in third with 6.
That's got to hurt, Fix. That's got to hurt.
Interesting.
It does. It does. He's not been here for half a year, and I'm only 1 point ahead of him.
I think we should get 2 points. I think we should get 2 points.
You say this every time you're here. It doesn't change anything.
You've got to turn up to be in it. You've got to be in it to win it.
Facts.
In it to win it. We are going to go Mr. Paul Despawn, followed by Mr. MC Fixer, followed by Too Fresh Crash. Round in a circle. Here we go. Yes or no questions. You have 1 minute, 30 seconds, starting right about now.
Is it an Xbox exclusive?
No.
Did it launch on the Xbox 360?
Yeah. No.
EA?
No.
Xbox One original?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it a first-person shooter?
No.
Third person game.
Third person game.
Ubisoft?
No.
Square Enix?
No.
Action adventure.
Action adventure. No.
RPG?
RPG elements.
Okay.
Is there a person on the front cover of the game? Is it a human on the front cover of the game?
There is a human on the key art of the game.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it part of a franchise?
No.
Is it multiplayer focused?
Yes. Focused. Single player or multiplayer. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
One of the big publishers.
No. Let me come back to you on that one.
Okay.
No, not a big publisher.
Is there guns in the game?
No.
Jesus.
Okay. I know.
That's time up. You can each have one more question. Okay. I think this is inadvertently difficult. When I picked it, I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be really difficult. But actually, we're in that world where it seems quite difficult.
So just to kind of catch up on what we've got, go on, Crash. I know you met lists.
Not exclusive. Xbox OG.
No,
Xbox
One.
Oh, okay. I mistook that.
Xbox One original. Yeah.
Third person. When you said Xbox One original, I thought you were talking about like never.
No, the originally. So
third person. Yep. RPG elements, fantasy. Not a big publisher.
Human on the cover.
And single player and multiplayer.
You also said, are there guns? I said no. I'm going to stick with no.
Okay. There is some kind of gun element in there.
Projectiles.
Okay. All right, projectiles, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is it a puzzle game?
No.
Okay. Is it an open world game?
Yes.
Okay.
Crash.
Hey.
I think I have an idea, but okay.
Crash, you get one more question. And I think you need it.
I do need it. Is the multiplayer pre-made characters?
Good question.
You should just tell me the game and I can answer that for you.
Yeah, you just tell the game, we'll tell you. Yeah.
I have a guess.
Not exclusive, right?
Yeah,
not exclusive.
Oh no, it can't be this because it's not me. Oh.
You can create a character.
Okay.
You create a character.
You create a character.
Okay. So yeah, so it's kind of leaning into what I think it is.
I'll go. So it's not a franchise though, right?
Oh,
not a franchise. There is.
Oh, that ruins it for me.
One game.
There was one game. Oh.
I'm gonna go Sleeping Dogs.
Not Sleeping Dogs. Sorry.
Got guns.
Oh,
not fantasy
it's not
game.
guns. Not fantasy either.
Yeah.
So I completely forgot we said it wasn't a franchise. So my original answer was gonna be So my original answer was going to be Monster Hunter World, but because Monster Hunter is a franchise.
My original answer was going to be Sunset Overdrive, but then he said no exclusives, and I was like, nah.
Not that.
Definitely not fantasy.
Sunset Overdrive's not a fantasy?
No, that's like a modern, like when you think fantasy, you're talking like medieval time kind of
magic and stuff like that.
Okay, fair enough.
I'd view that as sci-fi if I were to call it
I'd say
anything.
that was more sci-fi than anything else. Because it's like modern.
It's very whimsical sci-fi for sure.
Yeah, put them together. Yeah, I don't know why I put those two genres together. Yeah, go on, give me a guess. Come on.
I honestly don't know, so I'm going to stick with Monster Hunter knowing it's wrong.
It is wrong.
Yeah.
Crash.
Dragon Age Inquisition. It's not Dragon Age Inquisition.
No, but I would say you're the closest, weirdly. We were looking for Valheim. Valheim is what we were looking for.
guy sucks.
I would have never got that.
Nor would I. This guy sucks.
I mean, I've put a lot of time into that game. I've got my display up here of it.
Valheim's not even officially out. This is rigged and bullshit.
Is it still in early access?
Yeah, on Xbox,
I have no clue. I got no clue.
I believe
It's been on 2 generations of Xbox podcasts. You're right. It is still in early access. I think it counts.
Yeah,
It's been on
I'll
2
allow it.
generations.
Whatever
of
you
Xbox
pick counts.
Yeah.
Just remember that. Whatever I pick counts, okay?
You know it. You fucking know it, Chris. I'm there like, all right, so that's what we're doing now, yeah? Interesting.
Is that a really bad pick?
Nah.
No, I don't think it's a horrible.
It's not
it's fine,
terrible.
I think there are
It's
people
not
at
terrible.
home screaming and shouting at you lot for not getting that.
Definitely not.
Probably
but,
not.
No, but I actually think that's based on the
It's-
questions that you asked.
Yeah,
Please, anybody who was playing the game along with us and guessed it correctly, let me know. I would love to know if you guys
Just
can
Crash.
spell
Just
it
let Crash know.
correctly.
DM him.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
So
if you
questions
ask
that
nice,
I
we'll give you his
asked last
number.
week,
Yeah.
I think would have helped you. Do you build things in the game? So I would have said yes. Survival.
that would have been a
game?
great question.
My mind would not have gone to Valheim. I forgot that game existed.
It might
completely
not have
forgot.
been. It would have helped a lot.
It
Yeah.
would have definitely narrowed it down.
I thought somebody might go Minecraft, and I'll be like, ha ha ha! No, it's not Minecraft. It's Valheim. But no.
Interesting. No blind ranking, boys. Unfortunately, we are all out. We're all out. Don't look at me like that. It's not my fault.
What have you done to us?
There's no more. There's no more blind rankings left from Big Willie P. So we need
I see
new
you out
ones.
there. Big Willie P, you're out
Person
there
who
with
left
your,
the review is going to downgrade it to a 4-star because no blind rankings this week. That's crazy.
It's not my fault.
I
It's not
see
my
you out
fault.
there stealing your nan's phone, but you're not giving us new blind rankings to go through.
I mean, we need to set up the Discord so that people can put in theirs, and we can do it with the reveal thing.
Just hide
Yeah.
it.
So we need to set that up. We need to set that up. But we will end the podcast with Fixer Sacks. Let's answer some questions. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up in the Discord with questions, or hit us up on Twitter/X at myxboxandme. We haven't got MXAM. By the way, we are now on Blue Sky. Also didn't get MXMA over there either, by the way, just so we're aware.
Okay.
We missed it. We're idiots. Yeah.
I imagine that would have been taken a long time ago. People take those 4-letter acronyms all the time.
Very shocked. Very
Thanks.
shocked. But is what it is. So you can hit us up there as well if you want to ask questions there if you prefer. I know a few people have moved off of Twitter altogether, so feel free to hit us. First question comes from Origin Cookie Man, who says, with Death Stranding, Director's Cut, Shadow Drop into Xbox, do you think that this will be the moment we look back on as a turning of the tide in public perception of the Xbox brand, rather than the well-received first new COD post-ABK?
I can answer this one.
No, decent. Please.
No, because we took 2 weeks to talk about it. It's not that big a deal.
Yep.
It's 100%.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's just
don't
not.
get me wrong.
It's just not big. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah,
Kojima's huge. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong, but like Xbox getting an exclusive game from Kojima will be more of a turning point than a 4-year-old game finally making its way to Xbox. Like I just don't see how that could be a turning point moment. Like Kojima doesn't sell consoles unless it comes back to Metal Gear. Yeah. Well, no. But like, if it's like an exclusive brand new IP Kojima game, that is a turning point if that game goes on to be Metal Gear, right? Like even Death Stranding wasn't received well when it came out. Like it's not then going to be a turning point. It was received fine. I just don't think it was received like a Metal Gear is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So yeah, no, definitely not a turning point. And I think the COD coming out, again, we haven't spoken about it too much on the podcast, but they've come out and said that it's the biggest Call of Duty ever. And socially, numbers-wise, everything. It has done everything that Xbox assumed it was going to do. It has done that and more by the metrics of what we're seeing out there for COD. So COD, and don't get me wrong, it's not like this is a COD is back sort of thing, but I do think this is it's trending brilliantly for Xbox and what they had hoped for from the ABK deal, to be honest with you. That is way more of a turning point than Death Stranding.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm super hyped that Death Stranding is coming to Xbox for the reason of, like, you know, we're starting to see more games coming to Xbox. It's great. I bought it. I probably won't play it because I own it already in 2 places and I never played them in those either. But, you know, like, I want to support the good moves that Xbox are making. and I can only do that with my wallet. And yeah, but like, so I'm excited to see more games coming to Xbox. I'm interested to see, like, I say I'm not going to play it. I'm actually going to try it and see what it plays like with it being a PlayStation engine on an Xbox console. Like, I'm sure it's going to play fine. It's going to be fine.
Didn't even think of that.
Yeah, because it's a Decima engine, isn't it? So
yeah,
Apparently, it runs very well indeed.
I'm not surprised. Like, it ran really well on PC.
How long before Death Stranding 2 comes to Xbox after it launches?
pretty quick because he now owns the entirety of the Death Stranding franchise.
I'll be honest, like, unless there is like a written agreement, which I'm sure there is at this point, but like maybe a shadow announcement at Game Awards that it's also coming to Xbox would be a pie in the sky thing. But I don't think it's
6 months to a year.
Yeah, I'd see it being an indie kind of deal where it's like, yeah, it's coming out on this day on PlayStation, 6 months later after, yeah.
Either way, like, I don't think it doesn't seem like from the story that came out, it doesn't seem like Hideo Kojima's necessarily burned bridges with Sony either. No. So I think even if there is no like hard set in stone deal, I think he'll honor something to a degree.
Oh, for sure.
I think it'll come to Xbox sooner than it would have otherwise, but I do think that he's still gonna hold Sony on that front. Like, we'll give you the exclusive for 2 because it was already announced and whatnot.
Yeah, and we know for a fact that they're working on an exclusive game for PlayStation anyway. They announced that I think it was the last Game Awards or Summer Game Fest or wherever it was, but they announced that they're actually working on a new, like, for better use of word, another tactical espionage game. So basically Metal Gear in everything but name. So yeah,
we don't know that.
We don't, but yeah, but it seems like that's the kind of thing that the vibe that they're trying to sell is, like, you know, a tactical espionage game, and
that's the vibe he just sells him, you know?
Yeah, very much. He is the rock star of video games, isn't he? Is like,
yeah,
is the lead singer kind of vibe. But yeah, no, like, so I don't like, again, like, I don't think any bridges are burnt. But yeah, it'd be nice to see more Kojima games on Xbox.
Absolutely. Next up, Trencher says, do you think we will get to a point where a PC can boot to an Xbox OS rather than Windows? I use my Xbox as my main media device on my living room TV. Using Windows for that with a mouse and keyboard seems like such a faff. No.
What's faff?
Faff is just like a headache.
Just a
pain. Yeah.
You already have that. It's called an Xbox.
Yeah.
That's literally what you're asking for is, like, I'm not joking. It's an Xbox. Yeah. That's what it is.
It's a PC that puts the OS, yeah. No. Why would they cannibalize Windows? Like, why would they bother doing that? Well, not cannibalize.
Windows is bigger than Xbox in every way, shape, or form.
You're right.
They're never going to... Never.
Cannibalize is the wrong word.
Never.
Cannibalize is the wrong word. But why would they bother building an OS that runs off a PC when you've got Windows that can run Xbox games?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it just seems counterintuitive.
It's a waste of time, yeah. And it's like, just, you know, they've got consoles for a reason. They'll just do that.
This would also be like they're going to the hardware market for PC, which if they were ever going to do that, they've had a very, very long time to go into the hardware market for PC.
I mean,
I don't see
against himself. It makes no sense.
Like, I mean,
well,
I say they've already done it, like the Surface line, like for tablets and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, but I
wouldn't class that as being like, like fully like a PC. It's like, it's a very low level. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
Never. Buy a laptop and buy a laptop and buy a wireless. A wireless keyboard and mouse. So there you go. It's what I do. It's what I do when I have to use my PC downstairs.
They have just so we're clear. They have Surface Pro desktops. Yeah, they make these.
Do they really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They're big, creative, very, very expensive machines.
They're not. Yeah, they're not.
They don't boot Xbox OS, and they never will.
No, they boot Windows, and they always will.
Cool. Next up, Anubis says, Halloween is over and it's straight to the shopping season now. What is your must-get gift? What's the one game that little Timmy's parents need to buy him? Interesting. Are we talking anything? Are we talking gaming related? I think
we're a gaming podcast. We should probably talk gaming.
Are we? Interesting.
401k.
An air
Get
fryer.
it set up for the future.
Yeah, get it set up for the future. Bitcoin. Not Bitcoin. It's Doge. Everyone knows that now.
Doge is on the off.
Doge's on the up
Dogecoin.
now.
My bad.
Now it's been run by the Secretary of Education or whatever, or wherever he is. I don't know. Can you believe that? Like, no, you know what? We're not going to talk about it. It's fine.
Not a
Moving on.
political podcast. It's not like.
Buy yourself a swanky.
Well, it's not for themselves. It's for
Buy your little Timmy a swanky controller from the Xbox Design Lab.
No, because if little Timmy drops that controller, he's getting smacked in the back of the head.
And that's
No,
how
no,
little
how
Timmy-
old is
that's how they
little
learn.
Timmy?
that's against the law, Crash.
We don't
Can't do
know
that.
enough.
No, that's
We don't know enough about little Timmy. Is the truth? We don't
He
know.
might be 42 and just 4'2". We don't know
His
that.
name's Little Timmy. That's
Yeah,
just it.
and
That's
that
his,
because
that
he's
was his
small,
birth
yeah.
name. He popped out. His mama was like, he looked at him.
Actually-
That's Little Timmy.
What's the
Actually,
no-
ironic. He's actually huge.
I don't think the best gift to give an Xbox gamer is 3 months of Game Pass. I want that.
100%. 100%.
Like generally, that is if you're somebody who is like, oh, I've got to get someone a gift like £15 for or whatever it costs. I don't know how much it costs for Ultimate. I'll be honest with you. I bought a key from somewhere. Like yeah, I said that. What? Yeah, I don't know. That's what I would do. Like I would buy a little Timmy Game Pass and be like, have all of the games, Timmy. Like I wouldn't buy them one specific thing. Yeah. I think that's where my head goes to, right? Is that not? That's the best answer, right?
Correct answer.
It's the correct
He's a
answer.
gift card.
Yeah, it depends on if we're talking budget. Like I would say if little Timmy has not played a video game console and you want to get him his very first console, get him a Series S and 3 months of Game Pass.
Get Little Timmy a Switch. If he doesn't have a console, get Little Timmy a
Get
Switch.
little Timmy a Switch.
No, because Switch 2's coming. You can't buy them in Switch 1.
No, I'm
It's
correct.
better.
Get the
It's
second-hand
cheaper.
Switch.
It's a good time to buy it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's all backwards
buy him
compatible
some-
anyway.
Buy him some
Or-
Pokebox on Poke.
Buy my
Pokemon
Switch
360.
off of me. I'll sell it to you at a good price.
Yeah,
A
I'll
good,
get you a
good
good deal.
value.
Little Timmy can have a
I'll
crash.
put my Switch too.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
hand me down. Yeah.
Ken Doyle says, with GeForce Now limiting hours streaming for new members from January, do you think this will spread across other streaming providers? I did not know they were doing this.
I did
Me
not know
neither.
either.
Do any of you use GeForce Now?
No.
Is it a paid service?
So
yes.
it has a free tier, which I believe you can access it for an hour, and then it will kick you off, and you just log back in again. And there is a queue system for that. But obviously, being able to pay it lets you access it as much as you want.
So is
And
that
you
what they're
get-
limiting?
You get better streaming
Better
graphics.
bandwidth,
You get
yeah,
better bandwidth
Got
and
it.
stuff like that.
Do I see it happening to other streaming providers? No.
No.
I feel like this is a way to limit, like, I don't know the deals. Like, I'm assuming that this is like the free version is
Yeah, it
limiting.
must be, right?
Like, I can't imagine they'll be limiting paying customers.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't know. We should probably look into it to make sure that we're not chatting our ass.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if Netflix turned around and went, "Hey,
You can only watch 12 hours
stream
a week."
15
Yeah.
hours a week." Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, to
mad,
be-
isn't it?
It makes more sense for because gaming streaming takes a lot more bandwidth.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it'd be a slightly different conversation, but still it'd be kind of crazy regardless.
I mean, one way to kill your whole platform,
Business.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense. So no, I don't see anyone doing it if it's a paid version, no. I don't see that ever happening. Free makes sense. Go on.
Tech giant
Is the paid
Nvidia
version?
is putting a 100-hour limit per user on its GeForce Now subscription service
100 hours over what period of time?
per
Per
month.
week.
No, per month, I think it says here.
Interesting.
This
Well,
will
I
this will
never
affect
use
subscribers
GeForce
to
Now.
its performance and ultimate tiers. Yeah.
It's
Interesting.
crazy.
Who would ever pay for that now?
Oh yeah,
How much is that?
users. It is gonna be. So, just reading through here. If folks don't use our allowance for a month, up to 15 hours will be transferred over to the next month. More hours can be purchased separately.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Users who are
That's-
currently subscribed or subscribed before December 31st won't be impacted until 2026.
That's gross.
Yeah, that is
Disgusting.
like what?
Fascinating.
No.
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 I get it because it's probably the more popular their service got, the more expensive it was, and they probably
Of
didn't
course.
expect
Yeah,
it.
Yeah. Just
But-
raise your
but-
prices. If it's
Yeah.
if it
What
becomes so much to run.
percentage of your what percentage of your subscribers are spending more than 100 hours a month on it? Surely minuscule.
I'd imagine it's probably more than we would expect.
You got to remember,
Really?
I put 40 hours into a game in 2 weeks.
100 hours is so much.
A month? It's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's not like.
But like if
unfeasible.
I get on and I do 2 hours a day of whatever game, Fortnite, and just counting Fortnite, not the other games somebody might play. It's a lot. And streaming already, like if you look at like just Twitch streaming for a video, that's already very expensive on Twitch's end, which is why you see all the ads and BS coming through Twitch and whatever they're doing. So imagine how much more expensive it would be for a game. So I really think they were like, this is going to be great for us. It's going to be super sustainable, whatever. And it's super expensive. And they didn't expect that at the level it is. I'd imagine their infrastructure maybe wasn't super great for it. I don't know. That's just crazy, though. That's so predatory.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is I never view GeForce Now as a main way to play games.
No.
It's very much an additive service. So yeah, so if we're talking like I play 100 hours a game, I could easily play 100 hours of games in a month. But how much of that will I play cloud-based?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I like cloud gaming with Xbox now is like I'll maybe do 2 hours a month. So while it like you say, while it looks predatory on paper, it's like how many people would but how many people would actively be affected every month?
That's how you let people get away with predatory behavior.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Okay?
I get it.
There has to be enough because they're doing it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, like I'm not happy with it.
Yeah,
like,
you're right. There has to be a number, right? But I can see how they came to it, right? Here's what they said. They said, let's say 10% of people play over 100 hours a month. I think that's probably high. Would you agree with that, Crash, or do you think I'm in the low area there?
I have no clue. I don't know either way.
It doesn't matter. A number of players play over 100 hours a month. Us making this change will affect that amount of players. Let's just call it 10% for argument. 10%. Or we up our prices and affect 100% of our customers.
True.
If you lose those people who are playing over 100 hours, not only is that better for your bottom line because, like you say, Crash is expensive, right? Overheads. You lose those people. The other 90% of people don't care, never hear about it.
Yeah.
No,
Doesn't matter, doesn't affect them.
Agreed.
That's fair.
And you've kept the price the same. And so I don't agree. I agree with you, I think, in that it's a bit predatory and it's a bit weird. They're the first people to do it, and so people are always going to be skeptical about it. But do I hate the idea of it? I don't know.
Oh, no, I hate the idea of it. I understand the idea.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If Netflix pulled around and did something, I don't know, man, that'd be wild.
We got some people who binge Netflix all day. We got to limit them.
You have people who fall asleep with Netflix on. Like, it's a whole different thing, right? I think, but it's fascinating. And then, yeah, like we all came into this thinking, no, there's no way any other streaming service would do this like Xbox. But now you think, fuck, well, you could see it. I don't know if Nvidia see positive results at the back end of this.
Password sharing.
I think
it's a slippery slope, right? Once one company does it, the rest of the companies follow suit. It works out. Boom, boom.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
It'll be. I don't think Xbox will ever do this because Xbox is very much pushing xCloud as their main selling point. So it'd be weird for Xbox to do something like this.
I mean, GeForce Now is all that. It's everything. It's all of it.
But that's not their only business, right? That's what. It's an additive again. Like we say, it's an additive company of their branch. We're talking about like Luna. I guess that's Amazon, right? Like, I think it's one of those weird ones where like if you're the bottom half of the streaming services, you're not going to do it because that's your leg up on the competitors of being like, hey, and we don't do that. But if you're in the top half of it, you're going to be like, well, we need to do this to stay afloat, like you said, and it only affects 10% of our user base. So I can see both sides of it. I don't like it. I don't think it's right, but I understand the business of it is where I come down.
For me, it's very much a case of I don't like the idea of taking away something that people have already been paying for. And I think that's my main issue.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Last two questions. Origin Cookie Man says, why can't I find my Xbox and me on Blue Sky? We are there now because of you. Thank you very much. And then last question, Trenturous says, any of you guys ever had to stay over in hospital?
Yes.
Crash, start with you.
When I was young, I don't really remember it, but when I was young, at some point, I did. I don't. It's a very vague memory for me.
Interesting. Matt?
Yeah, a few times. I broke my arm. I mean, I broke my arm a lot of times, but one time I had to have it rebroken and then I had to stay in overnight. But when I was on a family holiday in Spain, and we all got really, really bad food poisoning, and we spent most of that holiday in a hospital in Benidorm. That was fun.
Sucks.
That was
sucks.
rough.
Yeah.
It was real rough.
That sucks. On
Salmonella.
holiday, I had food poisoning in Egypt and lost 2 days, but that was just me shivers in bed in the shower. Yeah, projectile vomiting, orange Fanta. It was wild. Wild. Yeah, definitely agree. Despawn?
I almost died, so yes. I don't
Me
think
too.
I've I had an ulcer that burst and internal bleeding and all that fun stuff, and had to have surgery and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I spent like a week in hospital.
Me too.
Fun times.
Yeah, I almost died and did the podcast. So yeah, I can tell how long you've been
That's
listening.
true.
So for those who don't know, I almost died of appendicitis. Like, how long's PlayStation 5 been out? 4 years?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Around the launch of the PlayStation 5.
PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles. I literally had just got my PS5 in my house. Then my appendicitis happened and I couldn't play it and I was very upset. But
Didn't take it to the hospital with you?
No, unfortunately not. But yeah, so I almost died. A man called Sion, Shaun the Sheep, saved my life, thankfully, from the Kind of Funny community. I was in the Kind of Funny Zoom call at the time, and he said, that sounds like appendicitis, you should probably go to hospital. And I went, oh, yeah, you think so? And it was like, yeah. So I rang 111. And they were like, get him to hospital as quickly as possible. And I couldn't go to my local hospital. So we had to drive an hour away because it was COVID. So we had to drive an hour away to a different hospital. And then Haley had to come and visit me. Well, didn't have to, but chose to come and visit me every single day after that. But yeah, my appendix almost burst. They said that if it was 30 minutes longer, I would have been dead because it would have got into my bloodstream. And that's how people die from appendicitis. So yeah,
Mad.
all because of it. What was it because of? Does anyone remember? Crash, remember?
I do not.
Not my best friends, really. Because of a sesame seed.
Damn.
A sesame seed.
Sesame seed.
A sesame seed got caught in my appendix, and that is what almost killed me.
I'm not eating anything with sesame seeds anymore.
True story. It wasn't the day we got out, but like a couple of days after I got out, Haley bought me a bun. Like a sandwich with seeds on the top. I freaked the fuck out. And she went, you can't die anymore, mate. It's already been taken out.
It's gone. Yeah, that's fair.
Valid point.
That's fair.
There you go.
You
There
beat
go.
sesame
Yeah,
seeds.
I did. But yeah, I did the podcast still. Podcast still went up. Still went live.
Never miss a week.
From me. What do you mean mad? That's it, bro. I wasn't missing a week.
No, respect.
What don't kill you makes you stronger, mate. This podcast will outlive all of us. Trump could hit the nuke. Someone still do the podcast.
just be 4 roaches on the podcast gang. So what about those clouds, eh?
But yeah, man.
4 like ghouls.
Yeah, that and the other time was when I was younger. I was tongue tied as a child, so I had to have an operation on my tongue.
Tongue tied? I don't believe that.
I have a bum tongue, so I had to have an operation to give me a tip, and that is how far I can palm my tongue out.
What is tongue tied exactly?
The exact.
No, I don't understand. Like,
I believe
the medical
it's,
term.
You don't have a tip. So like you know when you put your tongue out, you got a tip of your tongue.
yeah.
I didn't have that. I had like a bum tongue, like it was just rounded.
Okay.
And I can't poke it out very far because I have a very small tongue, obviously, because I was tongue tied. So yeah, I had to have an operation and all that. And yeah,
Yanked on it really
those
hard.
times. Yeah, very
It's
interesting.
like a ticketing system, right? They just grab you and just pull your tongue out, and then it's
Exactly.
sorted. Yeah, bit
Exactly.
tweezers.
Exactly. The best thing about it was I got to eat ice cream afterwards, all that I wanted. So, because that was what they said, which was amazing. But yeah, Thanks for the question. I appreciate that question. I like being able to share more when I can in the
very
right way.
and me question.
Very and me question
segment.
indeed. All right, let's plug, and get ourselves out of here. Matt, you can go first. What we got to plug this week?
Should we real plug? Real plug? Next week, next Thursday, November 20, let's say 1st, maybe. I don't know. Double check that. Is the Golden Joystick Awards. If you want to watch it and find out who won Game of the Year, or, well, mostly audience voted awards. And so if you want to find out who the audience, over 11 million voters, think Game of the Year is, or best performance, or all those fun things, then you can watch that live. Watch it on the Future Game Show channel, but it's also on the PC Gaming channel and the Games Radar channel. And we'll be there making a whole bunch of really cool content. So if you want to hear from the cast of Baldur's Gate 3, what they've been playing, or fun stuff like that, then you should follow Future Game Show on YouTube and TikTok.
Crash, what you got to plug?
My Xbox Me podcast services. Leave a review. My fellow Americans, leave reviews. That's all we got. Reviews for this podcast.
That's all we got left.
Wow.
Your voice can be heard on this platform. Leave reviews.
That was passionate.
My fellow Americans. I need
beautiful.
that every time, Crash. I need that every time. Decent, what you got to plug this week?
My fellow Anglophiles, English folks, whatever. I'm going to plug something very specific. It is also the same as Matt. I'm going to plug the Future Game Show YouTube channel. But the reason I'm doing it is because for those that don't know, I edit over there as well. We did an episode of this week's broad list, which is 10 games that make you cry. I really like this edit. I think it's a very good edit. One of my best. Go check it out. Go show some love to it.
Do it. Yes. You can find me everywhere at MCFixer. Just let us know that you're still listening, is what I would say. My Xbox and Me podcast at gmail.com. It's always nice hearing new voices. If you're someone who maybe you're not the Orange and Cookie Mans or the Anubises or, the others who write in every single week, which we absolutely love. But you're a new voice. You're someone who's, and I know you're out there because you stopped me at EGX and Comic-Con and things like that. Be heard, be known. We would love to know that you're listening. It's what keeps me motivated. It's what keeps me going. Trust me, there's plenty of times where I'm like, this podcast is getting on my tits. Maybe I should just give it up. Hearing from new voices is always what keeps me going. So would love to hear from you guys, whether it's in the Discord, whether it's on X, whether it's on Blue Sky, whether it's on the emails. We try and give you as much, whether it's in the YouTube comments, literally wherever you want to be heard, we want to hear from you, whether it's just an emote being like, a thumbs up. I don't care, whatever it is. Just always nice to hear from the community. So keep being amazing to one another. We love you all. Plenty of more stuff to come. We still know we have our goals that we've hit for the 12-hour stream. Things are in the works to get all of that done. It will probably be mainly in the new year that will start rolling out now, including our 24-hour stream that's been promised. But we'll give you an update on that probably early January. So we'll go from there. Appreciate you all. Until next time, we will love you and leave you. See you all later. Good boys.
The secret word is apple.